Hi there, I'm Barbara Turley, founder of Energise Wealth, and you're joining us today for the question and answer time to answer some questions with the Energise Wealth Expert Dream Team that you have sent us in over the blog. So today's question comes from Ruth, and Ruth asks, she says, I have been self-employed for a number of years, but always drift back to being employed or being self-employed but only working for one or two companies, which in itself is like being employed. The income stability draws me, and I guess at the root of it all, I feel I don't value myself enough to think that I can make it. You know, a lot of women feel this way when it comes to business, and given that this is an issue around self-worth and valuing yourself, what better person to come and join me on this Q&A time to answer this question but our self-worth expert, Debbie Spellman. Debbie, welcome to the blog.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So this question from Ruth, you must see this question come up a lot, and I really wanted to get your take on why as women, why do we not value ourselves enough to think that we can make it? And then how do we value ourselves enough to think that to actually make it?
Yeah, that's how long is a piece of string? That question, why don't we value ourselves enough? There can be a number of different reasons why we don't value ourselves, all related back to our past and back to our childhood, because many times we've either got these beliefs around our self-worth and identity, such as I'm not good enough or I'm a failure, because there's many times in the past as children that we have felt not good enough and that we have failed. And unfortunately, as children, we can create these, it can be so big in our world that we didn't do well, say at 6 years old at school, that it becomes everything. And then suddenly we create this conclusion about ourselves that says, I didn't reach the top of the class, therefore I'm not good enough. And over the course of our life, there are many events that happen just like that, that reiterate what we call a belief around who we are and what we believe we're capable of. So we get to the age of our late 20s, early 30s, and suddenly we feel like we're stuck in this prison of self-sabotage, habits and behaviors that we just don't know why they're happening. So I've got some steps that I recommend to your client to help her, but that's the reason why really we get to a point in our life where things are happening, we're not sure why, and we email in to someone like you and go, what do I do?
So what do we do? What do we do? Because this is a key question. I know a lot of women suffer from this problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got 3 steps for her here. So the very first one is spend some time journaling with a notepad and get very clear on what you believe to be true around money and around your own value. This is where you're going to start to draw out some beliefs that you have. So around money, really look at what your money situation was like in your family when you were 6 years old, and what your parents believed was true around money, around making money, so that you can start to understand what is your family system paradigm around money. A family system belief essentially is a belief we create based on how we grew up in our family. They're the strongest ones, and the reason why they're the strongest is because we don't want to be different from our family. As human beings, we have this strong sense of belonging. So what better place to belong than our own families? So if we start going over and above a family system paradigm, then suddenly we can feel separate and different, and that's not a good thing to our subconscious. So get very clear about what are the money beliefs that you have around your family. And secondly, get very clear about what are the beliefs you have around your own self-worth and capabilities. Reflect over all of your employment, all of your jobs, all of the things where you have tried your best, the mistakes you've made, and start to unravel what you believe to be true. Because we've got to shine a light on your belief system. It's driving your thoughts, your actions, and your behaviors. So unless we find out exactly what's going on, we can't change it. The second step to this is to recognize that you've created some evidence. It sounds like you've created some evidence in the past few years where you're yo-yoing between this kind of feeling like you're employed, not employed, needing to go back to a job. You're kind of jumping around this reality. So my advice to you in this one is to really look at you've created some evidence in the past that says, I can't achieve, I can't run my own business, I don't value myself. What we need to do is start creating some new evidence, because while you're replaying that story, you're going to create that story. So we need to create new evidence. How do we do this? Very first step, you need to take 100% responsibility about how you have been showing up in the past 5 or so years. And what I mean by that is, what are your habits, what are your behaviors, and what is your mindset? The way that you've been operating in your business. So if we were to dive down even further, are you doing everything you can every single day to push through and create wealth, get new clients, put yourself out there? Are you being resourceful, or are you being unresourceful? And what I mean by that is, when we're resourceful, we're in an empowered state. We step into faith and belief. We do everything we can. We're proactive. While in an unresourceful state, we're stuck in victim, helplessness, and scarcity. We have lots of blame and excuses as to why we can't get to where we want to go, and this keeps us stuck and stagnant. So be very mindful of every single day how you're choosing to show up, because it is a choice, and it's your choice. And the final step here is really get control of your mindset. It's very easy for us to look at our reality and think, this is all I've got. But the truth is, your past actions and behaviors and mindset has created the situation you're in today. So if you want to create a different future, you need to start changing your actions, behaviors, and mindset. So the first thing I recommend you do is create a crystal clear vision about where you want to go with your business. What does it look like? What's the end result? Then you want to create some action steps and some milestones that's going to get you there. And then every single day, you want to work towards those action steps and that vision relentlessly. And that is going to start pushing through the boundary and the paradigm of where you've been stuck. Now, keep in mind, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to bump up against a lot of fear, a lot of resistance. But the thing is, we need to break through those comfort zone rings for you, because at the moment you're bumping up against them and retracting back. So until you bump up against them and push through, only then are you going to start to feel a different level of mindset, of awareness, and of wealth.
Debbie, that is fantastic advice. You know, I know that a lot of women, so you're right, that bumping up against your comfort zone thing and allowing yourself to stay in that zone, and then it just perpetuates that feeling that I'm either not good enough, or what I'm doing is not going to be successful, so why bother try? But you do have to push through that zone. So I think that's going to be just fantastic advice for Ruth, and I know lots of other women out there watching will also get great tips out of that. So thanks so much for joining us today on the blog, Debbie.
My pleasure. And Ruth, let us know how you go. Let us know how you go with making these changes.
Yeah. So in the comments below, we will have links to so you can connect with Debbie and see the amazing work that she does on self-worth and value. So until our next Q&A, we'll see you then.